Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Before we start, I would like to thank very much Christine and Afnor for the lunch organized for us. Thank you so much. So my name is Nicolas Fleury. So I'm the owner of Tactic Advisors and Fleury Leadership, and also the founder of a company called Redata, which is working on providing business intelligence through data and AI to the standards world. And I've been working quite extensively, I would say, in standardization, working for ISO for about 35 years. So, yes. So before we start and continue, I would say, our conference with a session on sustainability and climate change, I would like to give you a brief overview of the current global situations with regards to sustainability and climate actions, and this looking at the most recent reports. And one which I think is very important for us is the UN Sustainable Development Goals Report 2024. And actually, I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to look at this particular report, but it's quite a depressing one. The very reason is that there has been very little progress made with regards to the SDGs. Only 17% of the SDG targets are on track. Nearly half showing minimal or moderate progress. Hello, Nicolas, how are you? Yes, I think it's okay. So as I was saying, only 17% of the SDG targets are on track, nearly half showing minimal or moderate progress, and over 1/3 stalling or regressing. This is due to increased geopolitical fragmentation, as Sergio was mentioning this morning, escalating conflicts, difficult macroeconomic context, high public debt levels, deepening social inequalities, extreme polarization, and change of priorities on political agendas. And this is significantly impacting the achievement of the SDGs. It is also slowing the move from the fossil fuel economy to renewable energy. And precisely with regards to climate change, it appears that 2024 has continued the trend of record-breaking temperature and extreme weather events. And the year started with the warmest January on record globally, with an average surface air temperature of 13 degrees, which is 1.66 degrees above warmer than the pre-industrial period. And sea surface temperatures have also reached very high levels. And as we are just entering the fall season, natural disasters this year have already taken quite a significant toll. Floodings have been a major issue globally, with severe events in Brazil, East Africa, Dubai, Australia, China, the United States, and Europe. And 2 weeks ago in Europe, we got the storm Boris, which hit dramatically the Central and Eastern Europe. So people are dying because of that. The biodiversity is destroyed, and there's non-negligible losses, which are economic losses, which are actually reaching unprecedented levels according to reinsurance companies. And we could also observe this year's heat waves, particularly severe in some area of the globe, making that I would say human lives become very difficult to sustain. So with this, I didn't want to prevent you from a smooth digestion of your lunch. But the fact of the matter is that we are very far from where we said we would like to be with regards to sustainability and climate change. And while we are slow in taking actions, problems grow extremely rapidly and in an exponential manner, which makes that our targets are not even ambitious enough anymore. So there is something positive to say, is that our organizations, our standardization activities actually are very active in this field, and this is something that we can only appreciate. And there are also quite a lot of remarkable experts that are working on these issues, and I'm very happy to welcome 3 of them this afternoon. So our first speaker today is Mr. Nicolas Bokov, who is joining us online from India. Nicolas is a true passionate about environment and sustainable living. He is a visionary with over 30 years of global experience in environmental services. His career with Suez started in 1996 and brought in a unique multicultural understanding while managing water services and construction projects across many countries like Mauritius, China, France, Germany, and India. Over the years, Nicolas also led high-performance technical projects at the group headquarters in Paris, in the Middle East, and across Asia-Pacific regions. Nicolas is currently based in Bangalore since April 2018, also leading the performance, innovation, and solution hubs, as well as the sustainability function of Suez in India. He's an active contributor to ISO standardization work for water utilities, as convener of the working group addressing efficient and effective corporate governance, and as expert for asset management. Since July 2022, he is also the French Foreign Trade Advisor in India. Nicolas is French and German national and holds a double Master of Science in General Engineering and in Civil Engineering. Nicolas, welcome. The floor is yours, and thank you very much for having accepted to join us and to present today to our audience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fleury. Thank you. I'm very glad to be here this afternoon with you and to share about the ISO TC 224, which deals with drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater systems and services, and also has a dedicated working group on climate change adaptation, which I will highlight in the following presentation. So if you can go to the next slide. So what is the mission of TC 224? So it is standardization of the management concepts for service activities and processes relating to drinking water supply, wastewater, and stormwater systems. So the objective is to improve the governance, the quality, and efficiency of services. To be more precise, it's to help water authorities and operators to achieve the level of service as expected by customers, and also in a sustainable way, to operate the assets with the best management practices, to manage crises and face climate change issues. Also deploy centralized or on-site stormwater management, drinking water management, wastewater management. And last but not least, to leverage on digitalization to achieve all these goals. So this TC is chaired by Isabelle Vander, who could not be here today. And the secretariat is by AFNOR, so Arnaud Gaudrier, who is in the room, I believe. And it is made of 35 members, participating members, and 38 observing members, as you can see the geographic repartition. So it is quite broad and representing all types of water utilities and systems, whether urban, rural, etc. So what this TC is not doing is standardizing targets on quality levels, or standardizing product specification on chemicals, or also sludge recovery, water reuse, and measurement of water quality, which are all under other TCs. So it's out of the scope of TC 224. So now, next slide, you can move. So the works program is quite dense. So we do have 17 working groups plus the task force communication. So what is the works program is to define a terminology, to clarify the user expectations, So it's almost there is a working group for each of them. Clarify the governance, give some guidance on water efficiency, on optimized asset management, on measuring the service quality by performance indicators, and also how to report that to the stakeholders, to give guidance on the mitigation of climate change impacts. So as I mentioned at the beginning, on stormwater management, and one particular top aspect also is the wastewater collection, with consideration for the problem caused by flushable products, which is a big challenge for the water utilities. So far we have published so you see 31 standards, and there are 11 standards under development. So as you mentioned, Nicolas, in the introduction, so I am a convener of Working Group 14 on corporate governance. I'm also an expert in asset management, and I am supporting the task force communication as well. So next slide. So the challenges of climate change are mainly, you mentioned it in your introduction, the water stress, and on the opposite, the flooding. So the two contradictory effects of climate change. So is water scarcity. The growing urbanization doesn't help for that purpose, and in parallel, the extreme weather events and flooding are becoming more frequent, and this is going to deteriorate in future. So how can standardization address it and mitigate it? So on the next slide, we can see the available standards. So first we can see the different levels. One is governance, the other one water security, and then risk management. So for all those aspects, there are a lot of standards, and also many standards are under TC 224. Not all, of course, but many, like on the governance on water utilities. Also, the water efficiency, so which is derived from ISO 46001. And in risk management, the ISO TC 224 is addressing it through the standards to monitor, analyze, and assess the situation. So if we look more deeper in detail of the ISO TC 224 works on the next slide, it's quite a dense slide. So it's a full overview of the contribution of ISO TC 224. So maybe I'm not going to detail everything, but you can see the two main pillars on governance. So principle for effective and efficient corporate governance, the water security, so water efficiency, and then there are different levels to increase the efficiency of water utilities, so through management of assets. So in ISO TC 224, we have sectorial standards, the series 24516, which is the asset management adapted to the water utilities, and we have also a standard on water loss management. Then we have a dedicated working group on climate change adaptation with a dedicated standard series, again from ISO 14090, so which is from the TC 207, specifically written for water service management. Then we have dedicated on smart water, so to monitor and analyze and be able to react more efficiently, to respond more efficiently to crisis, and also to be able to ensure and to increase the service to users. So, and in order to facilitate the adoption and disseminate the standards, we have a task force communication and a dedicated ISO TC 224 website, in which in particular there are examples of adoption of the standards. So this is to encourage water utilities to adopt the standards and to deploy wherever needed. So now I would like to focus on the ISO 24566 series, so adaptation of water services. So it's on next slide, please. Adaptation of water services to climate change. No, that's the last one before this one. No.
Which one?
Maybe it's a wrong presentation then. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So maybe I can share mine.
That's this one.
I can share.
Yes, please. Screen, Nicola, if you can. Share, Nicola, your screen. Thank you.
Yeah. So, can you see this?
Yes, we see. Go directly, please, to the good slide.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is the dedicated, as I mentioned, dedicated series, which is the application of the generic standard on climate change to the water services sector. So in fact, this was the outcome of some proposal from the working group on stormwater management. So there were several, in 2020, there were several proposals made for further works linked to stormwater management, which finally were all linked to adaptation to climate change. So it was proposed by France, Canada, and Austria mainly. So finally, the TC decided to propose to launch this series and to create a new working group to work on this, to establish a new working group to work on this on those standards. So now the working plan is to publish 4 standards. So 2 of them already published on assessment principles and stormwater services, so adaptation of stormwater services to climate change impact, and 2 are under preparation for drinking water services and wastewater services. So the ISO TC 224 will have a full set of standards to give guidance and to adapt to climate change impacts. So as the conclusion, so now I have the lead on the presentation. So I definitely TC 224 wants to promote how water utilities can effectively and efficiently address the needs and expectations of users and stakeholders in climate change conditions, and also by leveraging on emerging technologies such as digital. So it clearly contributes to the SDG number 6 to ensure available and sustainable management and sanitation for all. So yes, so that was the overview of ISO TC 224 contribution to climate change and sustainability. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. So I would suggest we take the questions at the end of this session after we could hear actually the other two presenters. Thank you very much again for this presentation of this extensive and quite impressive contribution of TC 224. It's quite interesting and quite in the topics that I was trying to introduce at the beginning of the session. Our second speaker is Mrs. Lina Ismail, next to me. Thank you very much also for having agreed to contribute to this panel this afternoon. Lina is Development and Innovation Manager, Environment and Climate within AFNOR Standardization. Her role is to steer and coordinate the strategic thinking of French stakeholders in the environment sector in a number of areas: environmental management, climate change, environment metrology, and carbon capture and storage. She supports French players in their standardization strategy at French, European, and international level, and assists in the development of voluntary standards in line with market needs. Thank you very much again. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nicolas. Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here today to present to you an overview and some perspective and standardization regarding climate issues. So as Nicolas told us in the introduction, I don't need to highlight the fact that we are in a context of a climate emergency. And my role with this quick presentation would be to show you how standardization can be a means to actually tackle climate issues, and for the users also of standards, how can standardization can be used for you to think about the transformation of your businesses regarding the climate emergency. So next slide, please. And I don't know if you can put it on full screen. Thank you very much. So to begin, I would like to present to you a few elements concerning ISO's commitment to climate change. So as you know, international standards are a lever to support global economy. And the London Declaration, which has been approved in September 2021, embodies the fact that we can no longer continue to develop international standards without considering the climate emergency itself. So standardization appears to be from now a lever for climate action. Just a few key elements about this London Declaration. It has been approved on COP26 in Glasgow and proposed by United Kingdom in collaboration with ISO and supported also with a lot of ISO members, including AFNOR, which is deeply involved in the environmental topics and climate issues. So basically, what's behind this declaration? Firstly, there is this need to be aligned with climate science. This consideration of climate science in the development of all the new and revised international standards, it needs to be really important because ISO standard needs to be aligned, for example, with IPCC considerations, and more broadly with scientific knowledge to give to companies and organizations the means to actually fight change effects. one of the is the ambition to facilitate and what we call the most vulnerable to climate change in the development of international standards. There is this ambition to have everyone around the table and to increase countries' representation, but also other kind of stakeholders, such as SMEs, NGOs, some countries very much vulnerable to climate change effects, for example. And finally, the third pillar that you can see on the screen is about a concrete and practical action plan to track progress. Because maybe you share this point of view when we talk about climate emergency. Sometimes it can be difficult to actually see concrete actions. It's a lot about commitments, but we really need a concrete and tracking progress action plan. Concerning this action plan, so this is monitored by the ISO Technical Management Board. So it's really interesting also to see that climate issues is a strong interest for ISO government today, and it follows some strategic priorities also, such as, for example, the production of ISO deliverables that meet a need for urgent climate actions. For example, you all know that we developed some standards within, I would say, a 3-year range. For example, ISO governance, for example, is able to put all the means on the table in order to have a strong and efficient and quick response to some climate issues, for example, in order to provide some standards and other deliverables to meet these urgent needs. Also, one of the strategic priorities I wanted to highlight is the increased participation of the underrepresented stakeholders, and it is the responsibility of ISO member, but also from national standardization bodies to actually promote standardization within several countries. And we saw with the previous presentation the need to have all countries, all continents involved in environmental issues and participating to standardization. And one of the strategic priorities also would be to take climate consideration into account for ISO technical committees. And for this also, Nicolas have given a strong example, for example, in the TC 224 regarding how can we adapt the concept of adaptation to climate change to water services, for example. So, as you can see, the London Declaration, it aims to touch all sectors in standardization, and ISO governance began to tackle the most emissive ones, for example, such as energy production, transportation, or construction. So, next slide, please. With that in mind, yes, thank you. With that in mind, I would like to give you a quick presentation of what we call the generic climate standards. So these standards that I will present are developed within TC 207 on environmental management, held by Canada. And so I will present to you quickly the generic basis for GHG quantification and decarbonization, because as you know, one of the main challenge is mitigation to climate change. So having that in mind, the main standard, I would say, that specify the principles and requirements at the organization level for the quantification and the reporting of greenhouse gas emissions is the ISO 14064. It's really the core and the basis of a strong and robust methodology to count and quantify the GHG emissions. And what you see on the screen is that a standard ecosystem has been built to be very coherent with the standards that complement themselves and use the same principles and methodologies. So we have also a standard on the carbon footprint of products, and also the carbon footprint applied to transport chain and operations. So this standard actually meets a need from the market, because today, as you know, the quantification of GHG emissions it's I would say, a competitive asset for companies, such as the price, for example, or other assets. So these standards give the opportunity to companies to actually compare one with another, and meet also some requirements depending on the country where they're based. So what you can see also is that we have this generic basis, and ISO community have been able to work on sectoral declination for example, for energy-intensive industries, on silicon industry, aluminum or cement, and also the basis for decarbonization, because it's the main issue and the objective of the Paris Agreement, is to have this first step of measurement of the GHG emissions themselves. So after this first step, we can, as a company, for example, think about the trajectory and how to effectively decarbonize the activities. And for that also, there are also standards in development or published, defining, for example, the path to net zero organizations, for example, or the sectoral transition plans, or the concept of carbon neutrality also. So you should see those standards as some tools in order to actually implement some decarbonization trajectory within companies or organizations, or also as a sectoral point of view also. So next slide, please. We've seen that the generic standard for mitigation to climate change, but one of the challenges is also to adapt to climate change, because as Nicolas said in the introduction, the effects of climate change are here. Yes, and for that there is also a standard ecosystem to be used and promoted as efficient tools for all organizations. So the main standard is ISO 14090, which has been cited by Nicolas on TC 224. It provides a general principles and terminology and requirements, and is also a strong basis for the declination for specific fields, for example. So we've seen the example on the water services. It's a good use case also on this sectoral declination. And on adaptation to climate change, we also have some standard on risk assessments, and another one on the monitoring and evaluation. Those standards are built to be very, I would say, user-friendly, and to be very efficient, easier to implement within organizations or companies. And also what's important when we talk about adaptation to climate change is the territorial issue. And so we also have a standard that offers some specification for the local stakeholders. And as you can see maybe on my presentation, the field of adaptation to climate change is, I would say, more recent than the mitigation to climate change. Some standards still are yet to come with the increasing needs from the market, from the private and the public sectors. And on the next slide, maybe to conclude, I would propose 4 key messages for future perspective. The first one would be the importance of maintaining scientific consistency, but also the links to innovation. So indeed, it is one of the priority of ISO within the London Declaration, and because these standards are made by stakeholders and for the stakeholders, it is essential to always position them as tools to fight greenwashing and to have a coherent and efficient climate action. Also, the need to apply climate standards into specific fields and sector, for example. So we've seen a very good example. And all those generic standards that I presented to you can act as strong tools for all the organization because they have been built to fit all fields, but also they should act as a basis for sectoral dissemination. Thirdly, the fact that I think all national standard body and ISO need to improve the dissemination and the use of climate standards as efficient tools. And last but not least, climate is one of the major environmental challenges that we face collectively, and organizations and users of a standard can be encouraged to develop a holistic environmental dynamic throughout all the topics, such as, for example, the circular economy, biodiversity, because taking those actions in those fields is deeply rooted to climate action, and it's at the end a co-beneficial strategy. And on that topic, AFNOR has the lead also on the technical committees on biodiversity and circular economy, also with major standards on this topic. I would like to highlight, for example, the standards on the circular economy, which have been published since June, so they're very recent, but it provides a strong framework for the circular economy perspective for all organizations. And that's it for me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dina, for giving us this perspective on the quite broad work of ISO on this fundamental issue, which is climate change. And now our third speaker is Mr. Rongjing Bao. Paul Rongjing Bao is Senior Standards Manager at the International Hydrogen Fuel Cell Association, IHFCA, where he's working as a researcher in the Industry and Standards Research Department. He's also a liaison secretary of the IHFCA Standardization Working Committee and a representative of this organization for ISO TC 197 as Category A liaison organization. He's also implementing the Green and Hydrogen Energy Integrated Demonstration Application Project in China. So Paul, thank you very much also for having accepted to present this afternoon, and the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Glory. And it's the first time for me to attend Ifan's conference, and it is my great honor to be here. And so first of all, I'd like to shortly introduce our organization. So if you can make this a full screen.
The PDF I cannot put.
Oh, PDF. Oh, all right. Okay, that's okay. So first of all, IFCA was IHFCA. We call it IFCA. IFCA was launched in 2016, and after 6 years of preparation, we were approved by the Chinese State Council and officially established in July 2022. So far, we have more than 100 members distributed in Asia, Europe, America, Oceania, and Africa, where about 70% of them are hydrogen and fuel cell companies, and 30% of them are organizations, universities, and research institutions. Here are some of IFCA's members companies showing the slide, such as Aramco, Sinopec, Faurecia, Toyota, and Hyundai, etc. So basically, our member covers the entire hydrogen and the fuel cell industry chain, which makes IFCA professionally as well as regionally representative. So next slide. Yeah. In recent years, hydrogen has been increasingly becoming a hot topic as a solution for climate governance and sustainable development. It's especially for the fields that are difficult to decarbonize. Well, hydrogen technology is an important pillar of the global energy transition. On the energy supply side, hydrogen is an efficient, high quality, and clean secondary energy source with diverse origins, high conversion efficiency, and zero emissions during operation. On the energy consuming side, the transportation sector is an important application scenario for hydrogen applications. And hydrogen can be also utilized for cogeneration by fuel cell systems and for meteorology, etc. Next slide. And yeah, now the development of hydrogen energy has become a strategic choice for countries all over the world to achieve the goal of carbon neutrality. Major countries and regions around the world are actively promoting the development of hydrogen energy and fuel cell vehicles industry. Fuel cell vehicles will effectively promote the green and low carbon transformation of transportation, playing a positive role in addressing climate change, ensuring energy security, and advancing industrial upgrades. Driven by hydrogen usage from transportation sector, we can expect that hydrogen applied in other application scenarios to be facilitated. Next slide. Hydrogen will be high demand in future energy usage. Now, hydrogen accounts for around 1% of end-use energy, but it is estimated that the number will grow rapidly. It is expected to be 6% in 2030 and 11% in 2050. Green hydrogen can be produced from water and renewable energy sources through the process of electrolysis. It accounts for nearly 1% of the entire hydrogen production volume for now, but it's also estimated to be 15% in 2030 and 60% in 2050. Next slide, please. Yeah. The hydrogen and fuel cell industry is a global endeavor. Yeah, transcending national borders. Advancements in this field rely heavily on international collaboration and communication. Shared insights, resources, and technologies can propel us toward a sustainable hydrogen economy faster and more efficiently. Since August 2022, more than 20 countries have signed bilateral agreements on hydrogen energy cooperation, and the COP28 G7 meeting also announced the hydrogen energy-related multilateral cooperation agreements. We can see there are many announced large-scale hydrogen projects scattered throughout the world, but they are not enough to reach the goal of climate governance. Therefore, including IFCA, many organizations are committed to facilitating the pace of hydrogen technology development. Next slide. For the upstream hydrogen industry, we can see that the global electrolyzer capacity significantly increased in 2023, where China accounts for more than 50% of the global share. Currently, many large-scale hydrogen production projects are being developed in Western and Northern China, where there are abundant renewable resources. In Inner Mongolia, a large green hydrogen production project with a capacity of 30,000 tons annually will be put into operation in a couple of years. And according to the plan on the development of hydrogen energy released by the Chinese government, by 2030, a relatively complete hydrogen energy industry technology innovation system and clean energy hydrogen production and supply system will be established. Next slide, please. For the hydrogen application, as I mentioned before, the hydrogen fuel cell electrical vehicle is an important carrier of hydrogen energy application, which can effectively promote the hydrogen industry development. The global hydrogen FCV stock has been maintaining rapid growth in global road traffic applications observed in 2021, 2022, and 2023. By the end of 2023, fuel cell vehicles surged in promotion, reaching nearly 85,000 globally. And hydrogen fueling stations, this expansion brought the total number of hydrogen refueling stations worldwide to over 1,000 by the end of 2023. It is expected that the availability of infrastructure for FCVs will improve in the future. Next slide, please. China is one of the most prospering FCV markets. So let's take a look at the situation in China. The promotion and application of fuel cell vehicles in China are accelerating rapidly. In 2023, total FCV sales reached approximately 7,069 units. By the end of 2023, the number of vehicles in China exceeded 20,000. Most of these vehicles were commercial types, such as heavy-duty trucks, cargo vans, and buses. Infrastructure development is keeping pace with this growth. Driven by demonstration applications, the construction of hydrogen refueling stations has also accelerated. By the end of 2023, China has built 428 HRS nationwide, accounting for about 40% of the global total, making it the leader in hydrogen refueling infrastructure. Next slide, please. And China launched five large city FCV demonstration clusters in August 2021. Now, judging from the promotion and the application of China, the five large city clusters cumulatively plan to demonstrate more than 30,000 FCVs within 4 years. Among the 5 city demonstration groups, the promotion effect of Shanghai and Beijing urban agglomerations is no better. The main types of vehicles promoted are heavy trucks, light buses, etc. And for hydrogen supply, the number of stations continues to grow, and the price of hydrogen varies in different city clusters with an average of about $4 per kilogram. Next slide, please. Although the fuel cell vehicle industry has achieved some great results, there's still a certain gap from commercial promotion So we will continue to work hard in the following aspects. The first is to continue to expand the application scenarios. As we explore the landscape of transportation, the impact of hydrogen energy and fuel cells is profound across transportation sectors like marine, road, aviation, and rail sectors, or other sectors like buildings, power, and in the industrial applications. Harnessing this potential requires both technological innovation and strategic planning to overcome sector-specific challenges. Establishing robust infrastructure and a supportive regulatory framework is essential for these applications to thrive. Hydrogen applications in these sectors hold transformative potential, paving the way to a sustainable future. With careful navigation, hydrogen energy could reduce transport emissions by up to 70% by 2050. Next is to drive the growth of demonstration scale by expanding application scenarios, thereby further reducing the cost of the industrial chain and preparing for commercial promotion. Next slide, please. So standardization helps the high quality development of the hydrogen industry. We all know that international standards can effectively promote international trade. To advance the standardization of the hydrogen industry, we need to accelerate the development of top-level designs, establish a comprehensive and robust standard system for the hydrogen industry chain, and enhance the implementation and application of hydrogen standards, covering everything from standards to inspection, metrology, and certification. The systematic and comprehensive promotion of hydrogen industry standardization requires the preparation of all stakeholders. Next slide, please. Well, ISO TC197 Hydrogen Technologies is a main standardization body in terms of hydrogen industry. As a broad crossing industry, TC197 has liaisons with many other TCs, and its work scope is standardization in the field of systems and devices for the production, storage, transport, measurement, and use of hydrogen. Created in 1990, ISO TC197 has 36 P members and 18 O members. So far, and they covered major economies of the world. 25 working groups and 1 subcommittee have been established under the responsibility of TC197, with 21 international standards published and 25 more under development. Next slide, please. And IFCA was approved by TC197 to become a Category A liaison organization in January 2023. Driven by the responsibility, IFCA will more actively participate in the formulation and discussion of international standards, as well as contribute to the technical experts' recommendations from more stakeholders. In June 2023, IFCA obtained the qualification to publish association standards in China, enabling it to collaborate with members in the development of association standards. In November 2023, IFCA was invited to participate in the 32nd annual meeting of ISO TC197, and during which we shared a comprehensive report on our efforts in hydrogen standardization. We showcased the association's achievement in advancing hydrogen technology standardization, stressing its commitment to fostering progress in this field. In May in May 2024, IFCA's standardization working committee and its first plenary session was convened in South Korea. The committee is composed of 15 members from Australia, Canada, China, France, Germany, Japan, Netherlands, Norway, South Korea, United States, etc. The members' expertise spans the entire industry chain, including vehicles, fuel cell stack systems, hydrogen energy, hydrogen safety, infrastructure, testing, and certification. And IFCA will develop the association's technical documents under ISO's working framework. The first IFCA standardization working committee made a 5-year working plan and specific work plan for 2024. And long-term speaking, the committee contributes to building consensus and deeply participates in the governance of standards in the field of hydrogen and fuel cells under ISO and IEC framework. The committee serves members and organizes the construction and application of the IFCA standard system, collaborates with ISO and United Nations technical agencies, and organizes symposium. For the committee itself, we will explore talents and consistently coach technical experts in the field of hydrogen and fuel cells, as well as continuously improve the level of international project collaboration and information sharing capabilities. For this year, the committee focuses on 4 aspects, which are organizational construction, systematic research, standard development, and cooperation and exchange enhancement. Next slide, yes. As a technical organization, providing more opportunities for international exchange is one of our main tasks. We have held many international conferences where the standard is an important topic throughout all events. For example, in May this year, we held International Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Industry Summit in Korea, during which the Standardization Working Committee was established. In May 2023, we held the International Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Standard Summit in Macau, building consensus for speeding up standardization progress of the hydrogen industry. We organized and co-organized the International Fuel Cell Vehicle Congress and the WNEVC. Both events were professional and impactful in the transportation sector. We also had side events during COP28, and in November this year we will hold a side event in COP29, and I'm pleased to invite you to attend. Next slide. And IFCA also undertakes international projects. Currently, we are implementing GEF-8, Green Hydrogen Energy Integrated Demonstration Application Project in China. And supported by the Chinese government, this is a 5-year comprehensive project emphasizing the production, storage, transportation, and application of green hydrogen, particularly its promotion within the transportation and industrial sectors. The project encompasses various elements, including policy formulation, standard development, green hydrogen application demonstration across all sectors, capacity building, and international cooperation. Next slide, please. And we are establishing the best practice in terms of hydrogen energy storage and new energy vehicles with UNIDO. The technical guidelines for the development of hydrogen energy storage project is an integral initiative aiming to standardize the hydrogen energy storage sector globally. It focuses on developing 3 comprehensive guidelines covering hydrogen production, storage, and power generation from stored hydrogen. And these guidelines will address the technological complexities and interdisciplinary nature of the sector, ensuring safety, quality, and economical viability across different regions. This project is is poised to establish a harmonized framework for the hydrogen energy storage sector, setting the stage for potential future development of international hydrogen storage standards. The technical guidelines for the development of new energy vehicle projects is an integral initiative aiming to standardize the new energy vehicle industry sector globally. It focuses on developing several comprehensive guidelines covering the technologies for both pure electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Yes, that's all the content that I would like to share today, and thank you very much for listening.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's a very fascinating topic as well. Thank you for introducing us to the world of hydrogen, at least for me. It's, again, very interesting. So now we have the opportunity to ask our presenters questions. If you allow me, I would like to start, Michael. I think you have given us a really concrete examples of what is beyond these high-level concepts of sustainability and climate change. And this gives us a very good perspective on the intense work that is being done in this particular area. Lina, you mentioned in your presentation the need to improve the dissemination and use of climate and sustainability standards. How the three of you would actually assess the situation precisely with regards to the use of the standards you are contributing to, and how do you think we can further encourage the use of those standards you are contributing to? Because they are very critical to address the issues that we were describing. The work that you are doing is very impressive, and we can only commend you for that, but the implementation is very fundamental as well. So what is your perspective on that, and what are your recommendations? Lina, you agree?
Thank you for this question, tricky one. I would say that from a national standardization body point of view, I will talk on that behalf. We work a lot, more and more, I would say, from a user-centric point of view. I think that the time when the people developing the standards were not involved into companies is finished, I would say. And we need more and more user point of view into the elaboration of the standards. At our scale, I would say, from standardization point of view, we work a lot about the framework, the structure, to have a coherent standard ecosystem, so that, for example, one company tomorrow who would like to implement ISO 1401 and another systemic management standard can actually work on the same framework, for example. So we are aiming to develop standards in order to facilitate the comprehension and the use of them. But I would say the pace of adoption varies between regions, kind of fields, industries also. These standards need to be promoted, for sure, but not only, they need to evolve also to stay relevant, because we see that for climate action, for example, things change more and more quickly, also with the new technologies, new threats also. So we need to stay focused on the user-centric perspective. And also, this is one of my key elements also. We need to have I would say, the user point of view, and to find a means from a national standardization body to collect also the point of view of those user of standards. So I would say it's, to conclude, it's a kind of a collaboration that we need to highlight and enhance in order to have the standard more efficient in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Paul, what is your point of view on this question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Clerio. So first of all, I think it is a global consensus to take actions as soon as possible to alleviate climate change. Sustainable development is how we achieve that without too much effect on our modern day life. While climate governance is a very complex system, and the biggest advantage of hydrogen, as I mentioned, is to the climate change mitigation. Is it can be applied in the hard to abate industrial sector, and for IFCA, there are three things we can do to promote implementation of our standards. Well, firstly, we would like to encourage more bilateral or multilateral cooperation, and secondly, maybe promote international communication and standards for publicity, and thirdly, maybe strengthen the construction of corresponding certification systems. Yeah, that's my comment.
Thank you very much. This is very clear. Nicolas, what is your perspective and recommendations?
Yes, so 3 points. Communication is key. So this is why we expect a lot from the communication task force in TC 224, so to promote the standards. So as I mentioned, there is a website, but we also would like to leverage more on social media such as LinkedIn and so on. And in this website, we also give examples of application of the standards, so from the water utilities. So there are currently a few of them already published, and we encourage our committee as members to provide to collect more in their respective countries. So, and also another tool within the working groups are the technical reports, and particularly we have been preparing technical reports on asset management with examples of good practices for the management of assets, so which give practical tools for the water utilities to implement standards, so to give appetite to implement the standards. And the same is being developed for in other working groups for the other standards. So we believe in more communication and to raise appetite on standards.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have a question for our panelists in the audience? Please. Yes, Andrea, thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. I've got a question for Paul. I'm a huge fan of hydrogen technology. I think it is the way forward. But my current concern is how long is it going to take us to get there? Because currently it's really expensive. I think you said $4 per kilowatt. Is that right?
Per kilogram in China, yes.
Yeah. In England, a kilowatt of power costs about 30 cents. So hydrogen is much more expensive. How do you see that coming down, that cost coming down?
Yes, I would say, yeah, currently the difficulty is the storage and transportation causing to the high cost of hydrogen. But with the progress of the technology, at least in China, the price of hydrogen has to trend of going down. So I would say it is highly depending on the firstly the endeavor of renewable resources, and second, the electricity price of the various locations. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you again, Andrea. Another question? Well, I have one, a few, basically, which is about one is about the complexity of climate change and sustainability. These are very complex systems with elements which are interacting on each other. And if we think about the standardization approach, it's usually a very vertical way of developing documents or solutions. From your perspective, how actually the work that you are doing in your respective field intersect together to address these issues? And again, with regards to the implementation of and use of standards, how does this mix together? Lina? Yes, excuse me.
Thank you. So talking about climate change, I would say that decarbonization and adaptation to climate change are cross field topics, I would say. The development of integrated standards that cut across different fields such as energy, transportation, agriculture, construction, and so on is very important. On this field of, I would say, climate action itself, it's very important for us to share a same terminology, point of view, scientific consistency, but to let the fields and the stakeholders from different fields to actually adopt those concepts and to create a cross-field standard. For example, if we take one concept of quantification of GHG emissions, so I presented to you the main standard itself, it generates, it applies to every organization, but we see that, for example, for hydrogen, there is a standard under development regarding the quantification of GHG emissions, but applied to this field. So from our point of view, it's about the collaboration with other stakeholders who face, I would say, the same challenges, but applied to different realities.
Thank you. Nicolas, in Bangalore.
So let me first answer in water management in general. So yes, standardization is happening in vertical way. However, in what I presented, there are some transversal kind of standards, like for the corporate governance of water utilities, and also the one on digital. So I would say that those are the cement that enables the communication, or at least the intersection of the different standards, so that we don't. I mean, the water utility is able to address all the topics in an organized way with the right people. So specifically in India, there is, as you know, a big challenge linked to the water stress, and also to the flooding and extreme events. So this is the pressure is increasing in India. So there is a will to invest in more assets to increase first to increase the water supply, but also to mitigate the risk of stormwater events and so on. And this is never enough. And now more and more there is a raising awareness that to change the mindset from infrastructure driven problem solving to more performance driven problem solving. So before investing in huge assets, better to first improve the performance of existing assets. And this is particularly true for instance, for water distribution, with the reduction of water losses, and also it involves a good ability to do asset management and prioritize investment. So that's what we can observe, and this is very much linked also to the, of course, they are not unlimited financial resources to mitigate all those issues. So I would say more and more there is a change of mindset from infra to efficiency and performance.
Great, thank you. And Paul?
Yes, thank you. So for standardization, I think we always try to involve as many stakeholders as possible when we develop a specific standard. Firstly, it is a valuable process to encourage contributions from others who may already have experience of success. And secondly, the life of standard is to be used so that consensus from more stakeholders will be helpful for standards application, which in turn to promote the industry development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the last one, if you allow me, which is a personal one, I would say, what keeps you motivated despite of the worsening situation as we presented in the introduction for the development of standards? And how do you see the future? Nicolas? Nicolas?
Yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. What in our field, in the water management is water supply management is really a key topic for the populations and a basic need, as everybody will agree. So and also as everybody will observe, this is not granted, and also there is sometimes a lack of, let's say, sharing of knowledge and sharing of capitalized best practices between utilities, and even more between countries and so on. So there is a huge effort to be done. So standardization is one lever for that, and of course also motivation of people, and I'm very much motivated for that, and to share the knowledge and facilitate access to proper water and wastewater services to all. And I strongly believe that among all the standards presented, the governance is definitely a key one to improve that. And another key enabler, but which is not a magic stick, it should not be understood as a magic stick, is digital, because data collection and analytics is key to be able to analyze and take good decisions. But it's not going to solve field issues. Digital is not going to fix leaks, is not going to lay pipes or to build dam. So it's definitely a must, but it's not the solution to everything. So my personal opinion is governance remains the key topic to be streamlined to achieve, to fulfill the SDG 6.
Thank you. Paul?
Yes. So we can see that in either ISO or IEC, there is a rapid growth of standards in terms of hydrogen and fuel cells and their applications. But regarding the different circumstances of each country, the number of international standards for hydrogen is far not enough. So I think in this case, in the next decade, it will be significant that the concept of sustainable development is deeply rooted in everybody's heart, and how much conversion from concept to actions. So that's the motivation for us, I think.
Thank you very much. And Lina?
Yes, about the motivation, I'm deeply convinced that standard offers a means to create a tangible change. And for the future, I think that the areas where standards could have the most significant impact related to climate change and sustainability or decarbonization and renewable energy standards, as you've seen that throughout the presentations, but also the waste reduction and circular economy standards, the climate adaptation and resilience also, and also the use of technology, data, and AI for sustainability. And it has begun because we see a lot of proposal and standards under development about, for example, the environmental footprint of digital services or the eco-design. So, but also the use of data and AI to actually contribute efficiently to ecological transitions. It can be encouraged throughout the development of some useful standards.
Thank you very much. So this session is coming to an end. Before really coming to the end, I would like to thank you very much again, our three contributors, to have presented your work. More importantly, I would really like to congratulate you for the very important work that you are doing. It's very remarkable, as I was mentioning, and I think that we can applaud you very strongly for that very key work that you are doing for the community at large. Thank you very much.